So in this video, I'm going to show you the new one-man tent that I'm going to use a lot in 2024 on this YouTube channel. It's lightweight, it's got a little bit of a price tag for a one-man tent, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it out, I'm going to show you what's in the bag, what the tent look like, so you can work it out for yourself if you think it's something that you would buy for the price tag of this one-man tent. So I do have many tents, so for me to come to the channel and go, this is the best tent that I've got, that wouldn't be right for me to do that, because I do have some one-man tents already. I just like this tent for the weight of it. Plus, it's one I've been wanting to get for a couple of years, but never really had the money available. So Christmas time came around, and we all know when it's Christmas, we intend to treat ourselves a little bit and get something that we've been wanting. Now, I'm quickly going to show you one thing. As you can see the stuff sack here, or the tent bag, let's say, you can see the poles here are sticking higher up than the rest of the tent inside. So if you remove the poles, you can actually squash the tent down to an even smaller size. Outdoor Vitals Dominion 1-person tent, super lightweight, 907 grams, so less than a kilo, and you can get it down to that. Stuff it in your rucksack very easy, and you can put the poles somewhere else, strap onto the side of your bag maybe, but you can see the difference straight away like that, can't you? So when you get the tent, you do get a footprint. This does come in its own little stuff sack, but I intend to keep it attached to the tent. But I took it off the tent at home to show you just exactly what it looked like. So now it is a little bit bigger at one end, that's your foot end, because it's quite narrow, let's say. But further up to your head end, it's a bit wider, but it's a one-man tent, so it's not like it's got a load of room for yourself, your rucksack, or for yourself and somebody else. It's a one-man tent, so it's yourself, and your rucksack's going to have to go in your doorway, or less, you put it right to the bottom of your tent. They do say 7 foot 1 inch, this tent does suit you. So that is a footprint. I like to leave that attached to the tent. Now I've only used this tent twice, so I can't give it an overall review on the waterproofness of it all and stuff like that. I've not been out in bad wind with it yet. What I'll do here, while I'm just getting this out, I'll attach something on the screen so you can see the weight of the individual pieces, like the pegs, the ground sheet, the fly sheet, and the inner of the tent itself. Because as you can see, they're all there now. These are not the original tent pegs what come with this tent. I've used them tent pegs for something else and now I can't find them, so I'm just using these like arrow head ones sort of thing. So I'll just grab these. Like I said, I can't find the other ones. Right, so by now that should have left the screen, and this is the tent. It's red with like a charcoal grey colour. Right, so this is the fly sheet. I'll put that to one side for now. And what I'll do is I'll start setting out the tent itself and the footprint and the poles, and then I'll bring you back. We can see that happening. Right, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to peg the footprint out of the tent. Peg that out first. There's a bit of a breeze in the air, so it's been a bit of a pain to do that. So I'm just going to gently peg this out first. So one thing about your tent pole is it's all one connected. You don't have to faff around with 2 different poles at once. A whole lot of it is connected together. 9mm poles. Now what I've done is, you may see there at the bottom, I put a little bit of black tape. I watched somebody else's YouTube video about it, and he did exactly the same. So that goes to the wider end of the tent. I just think it was a very clever idea, that, because one side of this tent is more higher up than the other side, and it's like that's where your head is for your sitting area, so you've got a little bit more room if you want to be sitting up through the night. There we go. Now there's a couple of ways you can actually set this tent up. So I just need to turn this round actually. I do have it slightly wrong there. Right, let's start pegging this out. Well, pulling it out. We've already done the pegging. So you can work out which is the wider point of the tent where your head's going to be, because this material here is black. That's why the bottom of the pole here put a bit of black tape around it, so I know to match them up. So that's your head end, because like I say, this is black here. The foot end you can see, but it's this grey silver colour. So that's your foot end. Then when you come to attach the inner of the tent, same again, you just match it up. This is black as well, so you just match it up, stick it over the peg there, bring it round to here, and if you can, stick it over the pole there as well. So because you can have this tent set up with just a footprint and the fly sheet over the poles, it is set up like this. So when I set it up, I attach the pole to the footprint of the tent. So you need to take that out now to using the inner. Put it in the inner and then into the footprint as well. So it matches like that. All you need to do then is make your way around the tent, clipping the inner tent to the poles. And you'll see it's got like just 7 of them. I've seen other tents where there's absolutely loads to clip in, and if you're out camping when it's really cold, then your fingers do start to feel the pain clipping them in and taking them off. But yeah, like I say, it's only got 7, and it will come to something like this. Then you do have this top pole here, what connects there, then there, and this gives it the width on the inside. So the poles are connected through this circle point here. I don't know how that'll handle in the wind, but hopefully we'll get out in the wind in a couple of months when it does pick up. I don't know. And we'll better test it in the wind as well. So there's something what we should know about this tent is it's only one entrance, and I've set it up so the entrance is on the opposite side. And in the summertime, you can use the tent like this, as you can see. So this would be something that I may consider using when the weather gets really warm. You can leave the fly sheet at home if you want, save a little bit of extra weight. But I think it's always better to have the fly sheet in the bag, just in case the weather changes. But yeah, I've spent many nights in summers camping in tents just like this, without the fly sheet on. I must say, the bathtub, very generous space at the bottom of the bathtub. It does come quite far up. So like I said earlier, you can set the footprint out, attach the poles, and then you can just have the fly sheet on as well. You don't have to have the inner. So that is one way you can use it in summer if you want. But summertime we get a lot of bugs, so I prefer to use it like this. But let's set it up as a tent. I'll probably 99.9999999% of people would probably use a tent all year round with the fly sheet on. So when you're first attaching the fly sheet, you've got a bit of Velcro just above the zip, and you have to attach that to the cross pole of the tent, like that. I didn't do that last time, so it didn't seem like it was attached very well. So this time I remembered to put it on. And when I say last time, what I mean by that is I set the tent up in the garden, slept in it a couple of times over Christmas. I always feel if you get something like a new tent, a new sleeping bag, air mat, if you've got a decent garden or somebody else's garden what they don't mind you using to set equipment up and testing it, try that first. There's not worse than getting a piece of equipment out and you go camping, and there's always a problem. It's always great to get your stuff out and test it first. I didn't need to attach the guidelines, so I didn't do that when I used it, but it is very small inside as a one-man tent, and that's something why I was quite interested in setting it up. So when I say last time, that is what I meant, garden testing it. If you garden test your equipment, well done to you. It's always best to garden test your equipment first. There's not worse than getting your equipment, taking it out, and you realise there's something wrong with the poles, or the pegs are not right, or the fly sheet's got a rip in it from manufacturers, or even the mesh is torn and not stitched right, because that can start causing you problems. So garden testing your equipment or doing a camp very local, close to home, is probably the best way to do things. It's how I've learned over the years of doing outdoor camping like this. Right, let's continue setting the tent up, because you do once again have to connect this to the tent pole. You know, looking on camera, you'd think this red were like a purple, sort of like a pinky colour. Well, that's what I'm seeing on the camera anyway. And what's happening here is the floor, there we go, it's all connected back up now. Saying the floor one seems to disconnect itself front rest at tent, so I'll see if I can tighten that a little bit. There we go, now it's pulling it right. Yeah, once again I just looked at the camera. It does look a weird, like a pinky colour, doesn't it? I can guarantee you it's red. Got a little air vent there with a little bit of a, feels like it's got a bit of a plastic bar to keep the vent open, like so. And there's another one at the other side just to help with the condensation. And you can pull this out if you want, just to pull the tent a bit tighter in any strong winds. And right at the bottom of the vent side you do have another point that you can pull out like so. So guidelines, you get one here above the vent, and then you get another one on the tent there. As you're walking around the tent, on the opposite side you do get another one here. If it's going to be windy, I do suggest that you do pull them out. I know some people are going to say they do prefer a tent with two doors, one at each side, but for a one-man tent like this, I think a one door is pretty decent. The vestibule area, if I'm saying that right, is quite generous. You do seem to have quite a bit of room. Let's get my rucksack and we can throw that in. And you have some sort of idea on camera how much room you get. Yeah, you'd easily get a 70 litre rucksack there, 60, 70 litres. Maybe if you don't put that there, you could have like a little gas stove here if you're doing a bit of, you know, make yourself a drink or a bit of cooking, and you could have your boots in the corner. Right, let's open the tent proper now. Now I'll show you inside. The zip is a YKK zip. $15D inner mesh. So if you are a subscriber of my channel, you will agree I'm very honest within videos. I can't say how to say this is a 4 seasons tent. It's fully mesh on the inside, so you're talking 3 seasons at its best. I can't say it's a 4 seasons tent at all, no matter how waterproof it is. It may be waterproof for the highest of rain. The problem is when you need to build the heat up in the tent, if it's really cold, with the inner mesh, the heat will just escape. so it won't build up no heat in the tent. Well, it might do, but not as good as a fully material inner. So it's definitely more like a back end of a 2 seasons to a 3 seasons tent. So it does live up to its name as being a 1-person tent. There's not enough room in here for yourself and a young kid or something. I know a few people on my channel who go camping with the kids. This is not a tent for this, it's basically a good solid 1-man tent. On the roof here, you do get a little spot where you can hang a lantern off it. And over here, you get 2 generous sized pockets for your keys, your phone, or all like that. That's how you know that is the head area. So let's have a quick talk about the tent. I don't want to get too far into this because it does bore people, and it even bores me when I watch other people's videos, because you can read all this, let's say, on the website, or if you buy it from Amazon or anywhere like that. So I'm going to quickly run you through just some of the information. The outer fly sheet of the tent is 1,200 hydrostatic head waterproof. It's not the best, but I don't think it'll leak. But like I say, more usage, we're soon going to realise about that on the channel. The bottom of the tent, the ground sheet, is 3,000 hydrostatic head. Plus you've got the footprint. Now the footprint don't do nothing for the waterproofness, it just protects the bottom of the tent. But if the ground you're laying on is a little bit soggy, well, the footprint will help that as well from soaking up into the tent. But 3,000 hydrostatic head, I don't think that's ever going to leak. Like I said, the tent is 15D material on the inner. The fly sheet is 15D Ripstop nylon material, PU coated, and it's got some sort of coating. I'll put it on the screen now. Siliconized outer, so it must have some sort of like silicon coating on the outside as well. PUV, I've just talked about that. PU coating. The tent dimensions, so we're just going to quickly talk about this as well. For the length of the tent, head to toe, 85 centimeters. Highest width is, the longest width of the tent, let's say, where your head is 32 centimeters. YKK zippers. From the floor of the tent to the top of the tent where you're sitting up, it says 28, so I wonder if that's 28 centimeters. And the pack down size is 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters by 20 centimeters. But take out the poles and you've seen you can squash the tent down even more to stick that inside your bag somewhere else. The poles are... I've got the poles written down here somewhere. I've got to write stuff down because this is what can happen, I can forget it. Poles. I think the poles are 9mm aluminium poles, if I'm right about that. I must be right if I can remember that. Yeah, 9mm aluminium poles. So the tent is £287 what I paid for this off Amazon. £287. Now what I've seen on their website this morning is to donate 1% of sales to help those in need. So 1% of the £287 is £2.87p. I'm sure they could donate a little bit more on that, don't you? But look, overall, the tent seems pretty decent for what I need it for. The bathtub is pretty high. So even when you're in the tent at night and there's like a cold drift, that may protect the bottom of the tent from cold drifts as well, coming into the tent. Like I say, 4-season tent, I don't really think it's 4-season. Back end to 2 to definitely 3 seasons tent, 100%. All the stitching, just all the finish on the inside looks really good. One thing you do have to worry about, you see this? This is me snagging it with my sleeping bag. So you really do have to be careful with that. That's the Velcro off my sleeping bag, you know, the top of your zip. So I did catch it there once or twice. And then the same again here. So that's something you do have to be very careful about, because that may open up to a hole. You don't want that if you're living in somewhere where you get a lot of flies and stuff like that. But that one, I do have to keep an eye on a little bit. So there we go, that was the Outdoor Vitals Dominion 1-man tent. can't wait to start using it properly, like I said earlier in the video, of all these hikes that I've got planned. Now, GoPro's decided to work. Second time the GoPro 12 has let me down. I'm getting a bit disheartened with it now. But if you want to see me using this tent a lot more on the channel, definitely over 2024, you can hit this here by subscribing to my channel. I'll share a video link up there for you. You can see another video if you want. But most of all, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. It helps me out a lot, and give the video a massive thumbs up. I'll see you next time.